What's up everybody, it's Josie here, and today we're going to be moseying on, oh wait, 1 second.
Hi, welcome to Starbucks. What can you get started with today?
Hi, can I get a grande hot chocolate?
A grande hot chocolate?
Yeah, thank you. Now I need to find my wallet. I got my hot chocolate, we're good. Okay, so I'm sorry. My Jeep is completely packed to the gills. My family is in the process of moving, so that's going to be exciting. But basically, today we're moseying around the Inland Empire, we're moseying around SoCal here. We're going to discover 3 hidden landmarks that I personally didn't know were here. So let's get into it. The first location takes us to Fontana, California, and it's a historical landmark I didn't know existed until recently. It involves one of the biggest crime lords during the 1930s. So we're here at 8786 Tamarind Avenue in Fontana, California, and in front of this beautifully Adobe-esque home, which is rumored to be Al Capone's winter residence. So during the National Prohibition, during the 1920s, crime skyrocketed and continued through the 1930s, where people were trying to smuggle beer and wine. So throughout this time of organized crime rings, Al Capone, an Italian-American gangster, became the face of all the smugglers during Prohibition. Granted, a majority of his activities took place on the East Coast, like in New York and Chicago. Didn't really do much out here in the Wild West in California. However, it is rumored that this house was one of his hideouts on the West Coast. And it's a perfect location, really. It's less than 2 hours away from LA. It's not far from the San Bernardino Mountains right over here. And it's also rumored that he had tunnels underneath the house, which went through and underneath the railroad, which is right here down at the end of the street right there, which would be perfect if you ask me for smuggling and getting things onto the railroad without people really noticing. There's a dog barking at me. Hi! Hi! It's okay. He's woo woo woo. And to this day, we can still see the capital C on the outside of the chimney. I don't know, I might be able to zoom it in, but it's right over here on that chimney right there. There's the capital C, which is rumored to be Al Capone's initial, marking this estate as potentially being his. This is actually a private residence, so I don't want to be here too much. Also, leave a comment in the comment section if you would buy Al Capone's house. I'm not sure if I would want to buy that. I also wonder if it's haunted. Okay, we're off to the next location. Next, we head on over to Chino, California, as I'm dying in the Jeep because it's really hot. But we're going to explore one of the oldest standing adobes in the San Bernardino County. Okay, and here we are standing in front of the Yorba Slaughter adobe. But it's not what you think it is, you foul-minded people. So this property was first built in 1852 by the Yorba family, which actually was one of the most influential families in the Prado Basin, which is basically this area including Chino Hills, all the way through Santa Ana, so that area-ish. Cumulatively, the family owned about 78,000 acres between present-day San Diego and Santa Ana, so talk about rich. They basically owned the lower half of Southern California. Now, the road in front of this estate actually traveled from Fort Yuma all the way down to Los Angeles, and we can actually see it's become a highway there, and I'll put the highway number right about here. But that actually made this rancho incredibly prosperous. And then a man named Mr. Fenton Slaughter bought the house in 1868 in order to basically increase his wealth. He wanted to invest in a property. Now imagine you're being a tourist and you're coming through this area, and this is called the Slaughter House, but it's not actually a slaughterhouse. It's just a residence and a rancho. I mean, those poor tourists, they must have been really confused. Anyways, Mr. Slaughter, he would actually raise some cattle and some sheep on the property. We still don't know what happened to them to this day. He increased his wealth and he actually became a leading political force in the area. Nowadays, I mean, this property is temporarily closed due to COVID, so we can't really visit right now, but usually back when it was open, and if it does reopen, you can go in and visit inside the house. Since this is the oldest, or one of the oldest standing landmarks in this entire area, it's really actually quite fascinating to go inside, and you get to see some of the original furnishings that the Slaughters and the Yorbas owned. And so I think tickets wise, it's adults are $5. If you're a senior or military, it's $4. Student or a child is about $2.50, and toddlers under 5 are completely free. I just had a fly get into my eye. What the heck? It usually doesn't happen to me unless I'm on my motorcycle. All right, now before we go to the next location, I need to eat. So, I mean, what sounds good? Ugh. Okay. Today we're gonna eat at Plant Power. Let's go. Let's go. And now we're going to head over to the third and final destination in Redlands, California, which I think is probably one of the most underrated museums in the Inland Empire. We are going to head over to, if I don't get run over first, the Lincoln Shrine. The shrine here was gifted by a Robert and Alma Watchorn in 1932, and actually was originally just this octagonal piece right in the center here. And originally they wanted to expand it, but due to limited resources on the onset of the Second World War, they were unable to do so. And then eventually Robert passes away, leaving their dream completely unfulfilled.
However, in February 1998, the facility was enlarged, adding the walls in the back and bringing the fountains and pools forward. It was then rededicated, and now we're left with this beautiful piece of architecture in Redlands.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and see what artifacts they have inside here. Let's go take a look. President Lincoln. It's interesting because I'd actually would want to meet Mary Todd. Her story is really fascinating. This king here was owned by the president himself. And this was a handkerchief of Mary Todd's. ML is inscribed on it right there. Mary Lincoln. Crazy. Oh god. Surgical tools. And really no anesthesia back then. You just saw the leg. I can't even imagine. People were so tough back then. So I was talking to the docent as well as the lady at the desk, and they used to have a cannonball that was one of the first, if not the first, cannonball shot at a very vital battle. I forget which battle it was, but they have all of these archives, and they said that underneath the building here, as well as part of the Smiley Library on the other side, they have rooms full of archives of all sorts of artifacts, and they just change out the artifacts every so periodically just to keep it up to date. So even if you do come here, it's completely free to enter, and if you come here once, you could always come back a couple months later, and they might have just completely different artifacts in there you can discover, and some of Abraham Lincoln's original possessions. It's crazy. It is just so cool to me to learn about all the history that is here in Southern California, because I remember I studied abroad in Paris, and I'll talk about more of my experiences there in upcoming videos, but there's so much history in Europe that sometimes when I'm here in Southern California, it feels like it's almost somewhat lacking. But the more and more I do research, the more I realize how much history is actually here, and it never ceases to amaze me. So if you guys enjoyed this video, kind of discovering all of these hidden locations with me, feel free to give this video a like. It helps me push forward content a little bit more geared towards you guys. If you want some more content just like this, feel free to subscribe, and feel free to comment down below where I should mosey on over to next. If you guys have any ideas or want to see something in particular, just let me know. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Oh wait. Is this filming? Yes.